Hello and welcome to the Crafty Diamond. I am Debbie. If you are new, my channel is all about diamond paintings, and today I am going to be working on a diamond painting and just chit-chatting with you guys. And my WIP, or work in progress, is from Orloa. It is a round diamond painting. I have been working on it for a while, but I have 16 in my work in progress, or WIPs. And so I just try to pull different ones out. I know you guys have seen this one, but I really want to get this one finished by the early part of March. So hopefully I can meet that goal. So grab something that you want to work on, or simply treat this like a podcast, and let's get started. I am using several different supplies. I have this gorgeous pen, and if you guys can see, it's kind of dark, but I'm using this gorgeous pen from an Outpost. Unfortunately, I don't think they are currently making pens. I don't know if they're going to come back and do that. As far as putty, I am using Black Dahlia, and this is Scent of the Month from October 2025, and this is Oak Moss Amber, and I love the smell of this. So I'm using that for my multi. I am using Distracted by Diamonds putty in my single placer, and then I'm using this pink tray from Add More Zest, and this actually matches my canvas. And as far as my washi, I am using Simply Gilded. I am using my Elizabeth Ward for my containers, and then I do have my Black Dahlia organizer that I'm also using, and so that has quite a bit on it, and I love my Black Dahlia organizer. It keeps everything in place for me. And then as far as my trinket tray, I am using my Mimi purple tray, and that is from Sparkling Nana. And then I do have some tweezers, and those are from the one with the diamond art. I really like my pink ones, and pink matches. It's very pinkish for this painting. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, we're going to go with this symbol. I do like to use my back of my tweezers to open up Elizabeth Ward. I do not want to mess my nails up, although I do need to go and get a manicure, which I'm planning on doing that today. Probably not the best thing, since today is Valentine's for me. So happy Valentine's for everybody. And even if you don't celebrate Valentine's, celebrate yourself. That's what I used to do when I was single, wasn't seeing anybody. I just said, this is a special day to celebrate me. I can be my Valentine. And so that's what I did. Or I had my fur babies as my Valentines. And so now, of course, I'm married, have kids, and I celebrate all of them. We really don't do that much, honestly, for Valentine's, because we pretty much celebrate each other every day. But it's kind of nice just to have that special day or recognition. I do like that. I don't know where that drill came from. I need to move that one. Okay, so there wasn't very many on this color. I may be changing colors. Well, I shouldn't be changing colors that much, because this is quite a bit of color blocking. And I didn't mention the canvas I'm working on. I've been working on this one for a couple of WIP Chats now, and this is Paris Orloa. It's a round, and as I mentioned in a couple of my other videos when I was working on this one, it has been extremely gappy. It's really pretty from a distance. I am going to do a post review once I finish this one, and I will have some comments on it. I do love Orloa, but I am used to Orloa squares, not so much on their rounds. And this, I believe, is an older kit, so it could be that too. But I would love to hear if any of you have done an Orloa round and what your feelings are about it. It's really hard for me to multi-place on this, but there's not any way I'm going to single place this when there is quite a bit of color blocking on here. And honestly, I just would like to get this one finished. But I would love to hear your comments as well. If you had this problem, hopefully you haven't. But I would love to know how everybody is doing. What are you guys up to? What are you working on? Are you getting spring fever like me? I am just so over this nasty weather. We have had pretty good weather in terms of not raining. We didn't have any ice or snow this past week, but it has just been downright cold in the mornings. We have had a couple days where it was in the high 50s, and so it didn't feel as cold, but it still has been miserable whenever we have to get up and get going in the mornings. But next week, or this upcoming week, it could get up to 76, which I think is absolutely crazy. I'm all for it. So we'll see if that actually happens. I hope so. But it has been a very busy week for me. I've actually had a lot going on. Another color. I have actually had quite a bit going on this past week, and just mainly in terms of just being busy. We are going into our really busy season with one of the organizations that I sponsor at work, and that I am the primary lead and advisor for the organization. And it started this past week. We had to go to a different school because all the schools in Georgia are able to be part of this organization if they fill out a charter, and then we meet a couple times a year just for meetings. And so we did meet on Thursday, and honestly, I don't think that the students that went with me, there were 2 of them that had gone before, and then 2 others that were new. But I honestly don't think that the ones that had gone before, that they got much out of it. The first part of the day before lunch, it was pretty good. And then after that, they seemed to be saying the same thing over and over again. And we were there all day. I was exhausted by the time that I got home, which I thought was really ridiculous because I had to leave my house, was supposed to leave my house at 5:45 in the morning. And dingbat me, I asked my husband, I said, could you please make sure that I am up by 4:45 so I can make sure I have plenty of time to get out of here, have time to get ready, my coffee, and just sit down for a few minutes before I have to rush out the door. And so he said, because he was getting up early, he said that he would. Well, he got me up 4:45, and I said, apparently I told him, I said, well, I'll be up in just a minute. I laid back down. He thought I was getting, that I was up and getting ready. He comes in there at 5:30 to take a shower. And guess what? This girl was still in bed. I fell back asleep. So he woke me up. I was supposed to leave, mind you, at 5:45. And so I told him, I said, well, I'm going to be late. So luckily I had all my clothes and everything laid out for the day. And I had everything together. So I had to jump in the shower, and I got ready. I guess it was about 5:20. So I jumped in the shower, took a quick shower. Normally I like to take a long shower, but I took a very quick shower, and then luckily it didn't take long for my hair. And then I got my makeup on, got out, and then of course there was ice all over my car. So while I was finishing up, I just started my car, let my car warm up, and then I was ready to go. Luckily, there wasn't that much traffic, and I got there right at 6:25. And it didn't matter because there were a couple of students who we were waiting on. 2 never showed up, and that is a really bad, so it could be a bad problem, for them. They are going to have to pay a penalty for not showing up because we have to pay for students to go. It's not free. We paid quite a bit of money
for students to go to this event. And we had, we had a minivan and we had an SUV that we got from the school, and we could have really altered how we had planned on what we planned on driving and how we planned on doing it had the other two students not signed up, and they didn't, and rather than just being a no-show, because we were expecting them. So I had to end up waiting because one student said that she was running behind, that she was almost there. And so I thought, well, we have plenty of time. I'm not worried about it. So I told the other instructor, I said, why don't you, he had 3 students in his car, and I was waiting on 3. And I said, well, you've already got the 3 in your car. Why don't y'all go ahead and go? And if you get there before us, then, that's fine. Just check us in. Tell them we'll be there as soon as we can. I said, I'll wait another 15 minutes, but that's it. So the other girl showed up, and the other one sent me a message at 5:30, emailed me as if I would be on my email at 5:30 when I told her that I was going to be leaving my house and I would need to hear from everybody the night before. So I didn't find out until after I'd gotten there. I was checking emails. I just thought, well, if she comes, she's going to be late. She'll either have to take her car or not go. And then another girl texted her friend that was going, and she said she wasn't going to be able to go. She couldn't find a ride or something, and didn't make any sense because one of the students had planned on picking her up. But anyway, so we ended up having 4 students going instead of 6, and that was fine. But it was a very long day. We got there a little early, which I figured we would, but I'd rather get there early than late. We did stop by Buc-ee's, which was one exit over from where we were going, and we ran into Buc-ee's really quick, got a couple of snacks, got a cold brew, which I haven't had a cold brew, really. I think I've had one in my life and didn't really care for it, but I thought, I'm going to go ahead and try this, and my student kept saying how it was really good, and it woke her up, and that's all they really had as far as cold coffees, iced coffee. So I went ahead and got that, and it actually was really good. And then I got the yogurt covered pretzels, which sounds kind of gross, but it's really good. And then that was it. Didn't buy a shirt. Every time I go to Buc-ee's, I always buy a shirt. They had mainly Valentine shirts, and I thought, nah, I don't want that. I've got plenty of t-shirts anyway, so ended up not getting a Buc-ee's shirt. Didn't really have time to look around. And so we went to this thing. We got there at 10:15 or 9:15. They started to sign everybody in at 9:30, and then it started at 10:15, and the other ones still weren't there in the other minivan they were driving. They had stopped by Dunkin' Donuts and got them some breakfast, and they also went a different way than we did. So we stayed there all day long. We had one 15-minute break, which isn't very long when if you have to go to the bathroom and you want to get some water, or whatever. And especially when there's only like one bathroom on the main floor, and there was a lot of people there. But we had that short break, and then after our short little break, we did have lunch, and they gave us, it was supposed to be an hour, they gave us 30 minutes lunch. And we had Chick-fil-A, which was cold because it had been sitting there for about an hour and a half. By the time that we had gotten our lunch and made sure everybody had the right lunch and everything, we barely had time to eat. So we ate, we sat with our group. Usually they say you have to sit with somebody different, but we sat with our group, which I was glad because the 2 new ones, I didn't know them very well, and so one rode with me, so that was nice. I got to get to know her a little bit better, and then we ate really quick, and then we went back in. So we were there until it finally ended at 4:45. I was absolutely drained because we didn't have any breaks after lunch. It was just go, 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 no break at all. The 15-minute break was a morning break that we had before lunch, and that was pretty much it. And then we had to get in the car. We finally left there about 5:15, and we are a couple hours away from our home base where we left. And on top of that, it was rush hour in Atlanta. We had to go through Atlanta, through downtown. Downtown was absolutely horrible. There were a couple of exits that the GPS suggested that we get off. I'm like, I'm staying on the highway. Because we did go ahead and get off of the highway one time. It suggested, and so the girl that was navigating, which I don't know if I'll have her as a navigator again, but she was navigating, looking at the GPS for me, and she's like, we need to get off on this exit. I'm like, why? Why don't we just stay on the highway? And she said, well, it says it's better if we do it. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I went ahead, I did it, and it took us in some rural area. We saw cows and goats, and I thought, something's not right here. So I think that took us about 30 or 40 minutes out of the way, where we should have just stayed on the highway and should have just grinned and bared the horrible traffic. So we finally got back at about 7:45 at our college, and I went ahead and dropped her off, made sure she got in the car okay, and then I had to go and fill the car up. We can only use certain gas stations because we have this specific gas fuel card. So I had to go, I took care of that, and I had to go back and drop off the SUV that I was driving for work. Then after all of that, I thought, well, I can go ahead and drop the key off with the SUV, so that way I don't have to make an extra trip on Monday to drop the key off and the paperwork that I have to complete. Well, they do have evening classes on Thursday, but it looked like that there weren't any cars there, and it was still lit up, but one of the buildings where I used to have my office was actually dark, and they sometimes have classes in there, so I thought maybe they're not having classes or everyone finished early, and I just didn't feel comfortable going into campus by myself. So I thought, okay, fine. I'll just have to go back on Monday, drive all the way, which is about 40 minutes out of my way, to drop the key off. But I felt more comfortable doing that. And at that point, I was absolutely ready to go home. So I finally get home at 8:45. Granted, I had not had anything to eat since 12 o'clock. And that was the cold Chick-fil-A that I had. I only ate 3/4 of it on the wrap that I got. So I was pretty much starving, but it was so late, I thought, I just don't want to eat. My husband had picked me up a salad from Zaxby's when he and my daughter went out for dinner that night. And I thought, I just don't want that heavy salad. So I got some cheese and crackers, and I stayed up until about 10:30. I just had to wind down. I couldn't go straight to bed because we were in so much traffic and I was wound up from the day. I thought, I've just got to just calm down. So I went to bed about 10:30, and I crashed. I was so tired. Got up Friday and I was still super tired. Had another meeting at work at 10, which was online, which that was good. So I finished that meeting, and then Madison, my oldest daughter, called me and asked me if I was busy, and I had a lot planned that I wanted to do on Friday. But I said, it depends, what do you need? And she wanted to know if I could watch the baby for a couple of hours because her and her husband wanted to go to lunch for like an early Valentine, and he is off on Friday. Normally they would have put her in, and they had planned on putting her in daycare, but she had been there for only a week. This will be starting her second week, and she was going to go to daycare. They had everything planned. They were walking out the door, and then they had gotten a message from daycare. They thought that a baby had just a minor cold. Come to find out, that baby has RSV, which is extremely dangerous, especially in newborns, and she is only 3.5 months. So they did not want to take her to daycare, just on the side of precaution. Now, she has already had her vaccine for RSV. It still doesn't mean that she's not going to get it. And I said, definitely, we do not want her to go to daycare. So I said, yeah, I'll go, I'll watch her. And so I got over there about 12:15, and I stayed there until close to 3:30. But they were able to go out to dinner or lunch, and she had some errands that she needed to do, and I hadn't seen the baby in a week, so I played with her, and she's starting to get to be really sassy. I think it's hilarious. 3.5 months and she's sassy, but she's starting to babble. And now she has this little babbling that she does when she is hungry. She makes the same noise, and it's like she is fussing at you because she's hungry and she expects you to have that bottle right then and there ready to go. So she started doing that, and I went and got her bottle, and she's starting to grab things, and she's getting to be a lot of fun, just as little as she is. She's getting to have her own little personality, and you can tell that she looks at things differently, and she's really thinking and trying to figure the world out. And I love that. I love watching her doing different things. So I was there for a little bit, and that about wore me out, just taking care of her, added to that was so tired from the day before. And then Paige had her night to shine, and an event that she's been going to now for 8 years. She was undecided if she was going to go because she's been feeling so bad since December. We took her to the doctor again this past week. They gave her a different medication. We went to an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, and so she felt a lot better. She really wanted to go, so I had to go and help her get ready. And Madison used to help Paige get ready, get her makeup on and her dress and everything, do her hair. And so she did it last year too, but then she wasn't able to the year before last. And so I'm like, yeah, Paige would like that. So when she got back, we grabbed Claire's stuff. Madison came back over to our house. We started getting Paige ready. I didn't put any makeup on or anything before I left to go over there, so I had to also get ready. So it was really helpful to me because Madison was able to help me with Paige, and I could take care of myself. And then my husband took care of the baby, and I don't know who had more fun, him or her. He was carrying her for a while, and he's like, man, she's getting to be a chunk. I'm like, she's pretty heavy if you hold her for very long. And so she had her stroller, and he put her in the stroller, and he was wheeling her all over the house, acting like that she was in a race car, not going fast, but making little noises and stuff. And she was squealing and having a good time, and he just loved it. I don't know which one had more fun, but she was holding her hands up in the air and squealing, and Madison came out there checking on her. I'm like, they're fine, everything's good. And so she was laughing, and then he got tired of that. Baby started getting tired of it, and so he put her in front of the TV, and he was watching the news and had her in her stroller in front of the TV, and she just sat there and was watching TV. Her eyes would get really big, and of course she had no idea what she was watching, what was going on, but it's just all the color changes, and she was just mesmerized. And we normally wouldn't put her in front of the TV like that, but we didn't have a place else to put her, really, because we don't have anything at our house for her yet. A playpen or anything for her to be able to play in. She's starting to roll over, too. She's almost there. She gets about 3/4 of the way. One more push, and she will be over. But she's not rolling from stomach to back. She is rolling from back to stomach. So she'll be there in like another week or two. I think she'll have that figured out, which is really cool. So we didn't want to just lay her down. And so she was helping us with Paige, and I'll put some pictures at the end of Night to Shine. It was a lot of fun. We really had a good time, and the only thing, it was kind of sad too, because the person that's been doing this since we started, and she's the one that really started up Night to Shine at our church, and she worked heavily with the Tim Tebow Foundation to get everything the way it's supposed to be. Well, the person that's taken over, she is fairly new to special needs. She had apparently taught on a special needs level, I think she said in middle school. I honestly don't know. But she is just more formal. She's not like the other one, and we loved this other lady. And anyway, I thought, well, we need to give her a chance because it's our first time. But they made so many changes, and some were good, and some were very disappointing. And it wasn't just disappointing for us. As a parent, it was disappointing. And even Paige, I didn't say anything to her, but Paige brought some things up, and it's exactly what I said that students or young adults were probably going to say, the ones that had been there before. The ones that hadn't, they really didn't have anything to say about it that much, but they had a different DJ. This man that was up there, he basically just spin the records. He didn't, and he would dance and just act like a clown almost, and what he was wearing just cracked me up. But they had these two excellent DJs that have been there for prior years, and they were amazing. They played songs that the kids could relate to. They played a lot of Disney songs, especially Frozen. They played Let It Go at least twice because the kids, they would go crazy when they heard Let It Go. They also, in the past, have had all the different princesses come out, and especially Elsa and Anna would get up there for any of the Frozen songs, and they would be on stage, and the kids would go absolutely crazy. All these kids love Frozen, and they could relate to that. Well, he was playing songs that the kids really couldn't relate to. He was not interacting with the kids. There wasn't as much dancing because they just couldn't get into it because this guy wouldn't. He was doing like different line dancing and things. Well, these kids, they don't know how to line dance. And he's like, followed so-and-so that was on the stage. I don't know if it was his wife or what. Well, she wasn't very good. And these kids couldn't follow her. They just completely ignored what he said. And they did their own thing. Which, that's perfectly fine. That's what it's there for. But they did not have any of the princesses. And they have a company that they use. And this company usually will do it for free or they don't charge very much to come out for the Night to Shine event. And I don't know if they didn't call them or what, but the kids were highly disappointed. They couldn't figure out why Elsa and Anna ditched them, because even Paige said that. She's like, Elsa and Anna weren't there, and we were just really upset because did they not like us anymore? And so I felt really bad. I'm like, well, what am I going to tell her now? And I just said, well, it's a different program, and maybe they weren't invited. And she just kind of dropped it. But that was really sad. I think that something needs to be done about that for next year. Hopefully they'll bring the other DJs back. They were so good. And then they also, one thing that I didn't like, and Paige was starting to get a little concerned, because they didn't say anything to the kids, I don't think, or she didn't pay attention, I don't know. But normally they would let us go in anytime we wanted to. We could dance with the kids and interact and stuff too, and we could just see what they're doing. Well, this year they said they didn't want the parents to go in there. It was for the kids only. So that was kind of disappointing because we couldn't dance with Paige. And especially they would do a song that all the kids really liked at the end when they were crowned king and queen. We would all be there. We were all clapping and congratulating everybody. They wouldn't let us in. So we had to watch it on the screen. You couldn't hear what was going on. They didn't have the audio. They only had video, or at least we couldn't hear it. I don't know. But that was a little disappointing because we really wanted to go in there when they did that. And it wasn't for us, it was for Paige. why we wanted to go in there. And then when they had dismissal, I was starting to get nervous. I knew that she was in on the green side. They said when you pick her up, you go and you find the green areas on the screen, and that's where you're going to pick her up. So I went over there. I walked and walked. I'm like, I don't see her. And so I have a hard time seeing anybody anyway in a crowd. But my husband started walking around, and he's like, I don't see her. I don't know where she is. And so I called her, and she didn't answer. And then she ended up calling me, and she's like, we're over here on the side. I said, what side? And she said, the right side. Well, I looked up there, and I said, they have this backwards on the screen. It's the green is not on the left, which is where we thought, where it showed that it was on the right. Either that or they were in the wrong place. So we go over there, finally found her, looking for a percentage sign. We finally found her, and we ended up leaving. The church was lit up really pretty. They have spent millions of dollars on a new building and renovation for the church, and it was just gorgeous. So I was really excited to see that, because I've seen it during the day, but I hadn't seen it where it's completely done. So that was really pretty. Even Paige said how beautiful the church was. So we had a good time. When Paige was doing her thing with her buddy, that was another issue. Her buddy, who I'd spoken to just earlier on Friday, I said, I'm not sure if Paige is going to go. As of right now, she is. And then I had contacted her later, and I said, Paige is going to go. We'll see you shortly. And so her buddy said, yeah, we'll see you shortly. And we had used her before. Well, I get there, and they're like, Paige isn't assigned a buddy yet for some reason. We have a few floaters, and we can use one of them. And I'm like, no, she has been assigned a buddy. I even had an email sent from the new coordinator, that she was signed up for her buddy. Well, she had two other people that had asked for her. One was someone that she had used before that wasn't able to go for a while. And so they requested her, and I'm like, I'm sorry. She's already agreed to go with this other girl. This was before it even started. And unfortunately, they could not find her. She didn't show up. After she said that she was going to be there, she did not show up. I sent her a message. She didn't bother to respond. She's a teenager, so I can't fault that for her. It's volunteering. So Paige has gotten this older lady. This was her first year to do Night to Shine. And I thought, oh dear, this is not going to be good. And the woman's like, well, is it okay if I'm her buddy now, since we can't find her? I couldn't say, no, we don't want you as a buddy. That would be kind of rude. So I said, okay, that's fine. And I thought Paige was going to have fun with this lady. But Paige found several of her friends, and so they all got together and they're with their buddies and with Paige's buddy, and so that was fine. That made it really worth it. Two of her other buddies that saw her said, let's all dance. And so they went and they danced with her, and that's when she had the best time. And then I asked her, I said, well, what was your favorite thing that you did tonight at Night to Shine? And it was so funny. I figured that they had a limo, but it was a limo bus, is what her buddy said. And so I thought, oh, she's gonna really like the limo, because they had the strobe light going, and they were having music and stuff, and it was all of her friends were crammed in this bus. And so I thought, yeah, that's gonna be her favorite time of the night. Oh no, her favorite time of the night was petting a dog. I'm like, petting a dog? What did you do? And she said, it was a therapy dog, and I got to pet this dog, and I got to take my picture with this dog. So she had to show me the picture of her and this dog. I'm like, but you have a dog. And she said, yes, but this is a different dog. So that was her favorite time. It wasn't karaoke. It wasn't anything else. It was petting a dog. So I thought that was hilarious. And she is feeling much better. At the end of the night, though, she was tired. She was drained, because she hasn't really done anything since December the 3rd, when she got really sick. So she is sleeping. She'll probably be sleeping quite a bit today. We're not going out or doing anything for Valentine's. I said, that's your Valentine. And she was, happy about that. We are going to pick up some barbecue tonight, so I don't have to cook, but we're going to go get it well before, and then I'll just heat it up. So that's really what happened, and I've got a lot to do this weekend. I've got to get a lot of grading done that's due by Monday, so that's going to take up the bulk of my weekend. I'm still going to have some time to diamond paint, I think, and do some other things. I did want to update everybody on Maddie. She has been offered a job, so all of your prayers, your good wishes, your good vibes, all of those have really helped. We have felt it. She desperately needed a job because it was starting to get really tight for them, especially when they added daycare in, because daycare is expensive, you guys. I cannot believe how much that daycare is, but she is in a really good place. Claire is, and it's close to my house. It's close to Madison's. It's convenient to Madison's dad too, in case that one of us can't pick up the baby. But she has gotten her first nursing job as an LPN. I am so proud of her. They have amazing benefits where she is. This was a position that she applied for, and she was afraid that she didn't get it. She didn't think she did very good on the interview, and they said normally they do not hire new LPNs. They want someone with experience. They will put LPNs in some of their assisted living and nursing homes, nursing facilities, but they do not hire for the position that Madison got. She is going to be working in surgical at a surgical facility, and she is just over the moon excited. She doesn't start until the 17th, I believe, of March. So that gives her time to get everything done that she needs to get done. She has a lot that she has to do for the new hire orientation. She has certain immunizations that she still has to get. She has to go and do quite a bit of other things. She had to do a drug test, which she went and did that yesterday while I was keeping Claire. But they said that she really impressed them, and they're going to pay for her to go back to school for her RN, and she's going to start, I believe, in the fall. So things are looking up for her. I just could not be more excited. She had called me and she said, well, I finally heard from so-and-so. And I said, well, how did it go? And she said, I told you I didn't think I would get it. I didn't get the job. And so I'm like, well, that's okay, because you weren't expecting to get it. And, you're just going to keep looking, and your job is out there. You'll find something that you want. And she's like, Mama, I got it. And then she started dying out laughing. Her husband was on speakerphone. He was laughing. And I said, you little sneak. And so she started laughing even harder. Well, Claire heard me laughing on the phone. The baby had no idea what I was laughing about, but she started laughing too because she heard me and everybody was laughing, so she wanted to join in on the action. So we are all super proud of her. And now I've got to get a car seat for my car in case Madison has to work over or she gets in a lot of traffic or whatever, because she is a little bit of a further drive than being really close to home. Out, not in traffic, she could get there in about 30 minutes. That would push it 30 minutes, but she could get there in about 30. 45 to play it safe. But with morning traffic, and especially evening traffic, she is going to have to leave at least an hour in advance, and then dropping the baby off. She'll be able to drop her off and then go straight to work. So she's got to start practicing, making sure that she can do that, preparing. I think she's going to do that for a couple of days just to see how it is and what she needs to adjust on her schedule to get the baby in and out of there. But she works really good hours, and she's working Monday through Thursday. And she's working, I think it's going to come out to 32 hours. But she is fine with that too. And then she gets a lot of vacation days, a lot of holidays. I was really surprised. But anytime that the surgical center is closed, then that will be, she'll be off and she'll get paid for it. So we are really happy. And her husband's off on Fridays, she's off on Fridays, and then she'll be off on the weekends. If she wants to pick up some extra shifts, she can once she's trained and she feels comfortable about it. So we are very proud of her and very proud of Paige for overcoming her illness and just wanting to move forward. I think that we have narrowed down what it is. She is having some testing done at an endocrinologist office next week. So again, please have some good vibes for her. And I'm doing great. My husband's doing great. Animals are doing great. Everything is just wonderful right now. I'm going to start getting really busy, starting to do the preparation for work, for competition. I've got to have, by Tuesday, I have to send the information over to this coordinator that we have that will start getting everything together for us for our state competitions. And as many as we have going, I believe that we do have a really good opportunity to go to Nationals, which is in Vegas. We will know at the end of March if we're going to go. And then only have a few days to get ready for that. So it's going to be pretty busy. And then I have the special training that I'm doing at work. I've got to get that done by the end of February because we have to go on campus in March to finish up our training, show them what we have learned, and show them what class that we have changed for the fall to reflect what we have learned in this class. So that is the update for me. And I believe that's really all of the updates for my family life, my personal life. And then for diamond painting, I completed 3 sections on my Jaded Gem Shop canvas, which was my last supper. It's a big one, and it's a square. I worked on that quite a bit over the week when I had time to spend on diamond painting, and I did complete those 3 sections, so I am almost close to finishing the first disciple. And I started thinking about it, thought if I could get 1 disciple done between now and December, and then I only have the middle, which would be Jesus, to diamond paint, then I can finish this by the end of the year. Well, I'm a little behind because I should be on my 2nd disciple, but the first one was a lot wider than the others are going to be because it was the background to and getting started with the painting. And so I just need to do 2 in 1 month. And there's one that doesn't really have a body. You can just see like the head, the body is in the background. I can get that one and another one done in 1 month. So I'm planning on doing that as a yearly canvas. So you should see more on that one. It's been hanging around for so long. I need to get it finished. So I got that one that I really spent the time on. I have not spent any time on my cross stitch conversion. I am super behind on that one if I want to get that one finished by the end of the year. I think I can get caught up. It's quite a bit of confetti. I cannot do that on camera though because it is too much to count and to try to get that one done. I might be able to, if I see that there's a lot of color blocking in one section, then I might be able to go ahead and do that one. I will show you guys sometime in March my progress. Hopefully I'll get more time in on that one. I do hope to work on that some this weekend. And then my temperature chart, I am a little behind on that, not bad, but I'm going to work on that some this upcoming week. I'm also going to, or plan on going to the Georgia diamond painting meetup. We meet once a month, and that is next Saturday. That is their 1-year anniversary, so I definitely would like to go if I can. I'm planning on going, and I'm thinking about taking my temperature chart with me, because I haven't even gotten the background done yet for February. I can at least get the background finished, maybe start on a couple of days. The days do go by pretty quick when I start working on them, so I should be able to get caught up on that one by the end of February, so I can show you guys my progress. And I don't want to get behind on that one, because if I get behind on that one, I may not pick it back up if I get too behind. I don't mind not having anything done for the month yet, but I want to make sure that I can get that one done by the end of the year, and to just try to stay caught up and not have to panic diamond painting, because that's not fun. That's not fun to be stressed about it. So it's really my diamond painting. I have completed one kit, one canvas. I did post that on a post review this week. If you haven't seen that one, I can put that in the top of the eye. I'll try to put it into descriptions too. I don't always do that. I'll try my best. If not, it is at the top of the eye, so you can look at that and see. I also posted another diamond painting another painting that I showed on Tuesday, where I kitted up a diamond painting from Hobby Lobby. That one's going to be quite interesting. I'm getting a lot of comments on that one, that some people really like it. Other people say that it's kind of hard when you get into the middle, that you have to really reach over. It can really hurt your back to stretch that much. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not 100% sure, but I do want to do it. It's already kitted up. I might take that one with me when I go out of town the next time for work, and work on that one, because it looks like there's quite a bit of color blocking, but it could be a challenge. So that's really all for diamond painting. As far as upcoming diamond painting videos, I will have my mid-month WIP parade out this upcoming week. I also have a fun video on Thursday. In a sense, it's an unboxing. I'm not going to kit it up on camera, but it's kind of an unboxing. It's also going to tell you what my plans are going to be on that one for the year. I am planning on getting that one finished. I'm doing it as a yearly project, so it's not going to really interfere with my detox, my diamond painting detox for my current WIPs. And I am doing fairly well on that. I have not kitted anything up except for that Hobby Lobby painting. That one's going to be a travel painting. And then also I might work on that when at night, when my downtime, when I'm just sitting with my family. I need something small that I can work on. So that might work perfectly for sitting at the couch and diamond painting. But I have not done anything else. I've been really good. I have not kitted up any that I have wanted to. I will be kitting one up in March, though, just fair warning. Besides the one that I'm going to be doing soon, I will have my Josephine wall, and that is going to be a primary canvas that I'm working on in April, and then a couple weeks into May. And then after that time, I will go back into my WIPs. But I'll definitely have that because I'll be doing my Josephine wall event. I will be posting a video on that one early part of March to give everyone some information. I'm still working out the logistics on that one and seeing how that one goes. I probably need to add some more putty to my multi-placer. It looks like it's starting to not want to pick my drills up. This would be nice if I could get this one finished by the end of the month. There's no guarantee on this one. I have 3 rows left, and that's counting the row that I'm working on. And I wanted to work on this one today because I needed a round to work on. I don't have very many rounds in my WIPs, and I definitely don't want to be stuck with all squares for the rest of the year. But I really needed to work on this one. I'd like to get this one finished. Even though I just started this one in February, or January, I guess, I would still like to get this one finished by the end of this month, or close to it. If not finished in February, possibly continue working on this one in March, but I don't know yet. I haven't made my March plans. I'm going to wait until it gets closer and then decide which ones that I want to focus on. I knew I wouldn't finish this section today, but I wanted to get a pretty good start on it, which I have. I've got a lot I got to do today. I've got to run out and do some errands, and so I'm hoping that maybe I can dime paint for a couple of hours later on this afternoon or early evening. I want to get a jump on all of my assignments and grades and projects that are due by the end of the day on Monday. I don't want to be struggling on Monday. And then Madison has a meeting with her new job online on Monday. So I'm going to go over there and watch Claire for about 30 minutes or so. And then I've got to go and drop my keys off for the car for work. I need to do that early. They've got an extra set, but I don't want to hang on to that set and then something happens to the car or whatever and they try to blame me. I don't think they would. They do have cameras, but I don't want that responsibility. I'd rather just go ahead and take care of that. It is done. It's off my plate, out of my name into somebody else's. I think that is going to be the best thing for me to do. And then I will have class on Wednesday and Thursday this upcoming week. So still a lot going on for this week. Not as much, I hope. I don't have any traveling to do, which is good. That's what wore me out, was the sitting all day and then having to drive back and forth. That was a long drive just to go back and forth for the day. That's all I have for you today, guys. I hope that everyone has a great rest of your day, no matter when you are watching this. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, happy diamond painting. Bye.